So it's been 10 years since that relationship ended. And even though I learned lessons from it back then, I was just thinking recently that somebody 10 years younger than me right now that is trying to make the kind of decision I made back then might have some vital lessons to learn from my own experience 10 years ago. So I'll be sharing with you some vital lessons I learned from my first relationship. I want you to sit back, relax, and learn from this. Thank you. All right, so yeah, relationship is generally what everybody wants to be in. Everybody wants to fall in love or be in love and be loved. And sometimes that decision comes with a lot of consequences. Sometimes we get the decisions right, sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes decisions are right, but our actions don't make them work out. So I was also in that shoe many years ago. About 12 years ago, I had a relationship. Technically, it wasn't my first relationship, actually, because well, growing up, there were flings here and there, but that was the relationship I really thought I was going to settle down and get married but it didn't turn out as I thought. Well, was God in it? Yes, I felt like God was in it, but things didn't work out well. And we were together for almost 2 years. When it all ended, there were a lot of lessons I learned, vital lessons. And I want to share them with you today so that you can also learn, whether you are male or whether you are female. All right. The first lesson I'll share with you is to understand love languages. Understand love languages. Recently in church, I was thinking about love languages. It was after the relationship ended that I really understood that some of the problems we had were related to love languages. I didn't really know. After that relationship ended, I read the book Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and I could literally spot a lot of flaws that could have been addressed if I had understood our love language and if she had understood mine. So I would advise you, if you are getting a relationship with somebody, it's better to know what their love language is, how they communicate love, how they receive love, so that you can save yourself a lot of heartache. Also, another lesson I learned is that, some women want to be with pastors and some don't want to be with pastors. Actually, wherever you are eventually in life, people will still reject you. Whether you are a superstar, people that want to reject you will still reject you. I found that lady didn't want to be with a pastor, and it was at the heart of our problems many times. She didn't want the limelight, she didn't want my own direction. So I would advise you from the get-go, the moment you are with somebody, ensure that you make clear objectives that you are pursuing, what you want to do, the things you want to do with your life. Let it be clear to the person, and let them also tell you what they're about, what they want to do, so that both of you will not have a clash of interests. So somebody wants the limelight, the other person doesn't want. Somebody wants to do ministry at the core, the other person is not interested. Those are lessons that you should learn early and make distinctions very early. Another lesson I learned is that when a lady or somebody you are in a relationship with does not want you to meet their family, that's a red flag. I realized this lady, quite conservative, but always tried to shield me from family, from my mother, her siblings. Somehow I got to meet one of the siblings, and then we exchanged contact. So there was a day I was trying to reach her, that's the person I was with, but I couldn't reach her. Then I tried the sibling, and I reached the sibling. I said, I can't reach her, all of that. So not long after, she called me back. I was ranting. Why did I call her family? Why did I, And then I didn't really understand the effect of it until the relationship ended. And, her mom reached out to me, we talked, and I realized that she had been hiding me from the family. So if somebody does not want to show you off to family, then it's a red flag. In fact, my wife, when we started a relationship, 1 week later, she took me to her 2 sisters. In fact, she said she used to tell them that I've met your in-law. 1 week later, I was already meeting with my in-law. So that gives you confidence. So if you're a man, you're into a relationship, let your woman be proud to show you off to family, especially. All right. Also, another lesson I learned was that when a relationship doesn't start with a strong sense of commitment, ultimately it will go its own way. I remember how we started that relationship. Actually, I had asked this lady out, and we were on it for it was about 4 months or so. Yeah, from May to September, 1 year like that. And then it was like a struggle for her to even say yes. I remember the night she was going to say yes. It was dramatic. I wish I could tell you the story in this short video, but I'll save that for another day. But actually, when she was going to give me a response, she wrote it in a short piece of paper and kept it in a Titus a sardine that pack, and put in a black nylon, wrapped it for me, and I took it to my hostel. I didn't even know anything was there until the evening of the next day. I just found out when I opened and read. I saw the note. Well, let's see where our emotions will lead us to. That was how the relationship started. Can you imagine that? Let's see where our emotions will lead us to. If a relationship starts that way, you know where it's going to lead you to, because your emotions should not lead you. You should lead your emotions. So whatever is done emotionally doesn't really end well. So when you are starting, you start on a strong note. Over the years, I grew to know better on how to start a relationship. In our church at Herald's International Christian Center, we ensure that our members start their relationship with prayers on God. So it's only starting with short notes, and then let's try it out. Let's see where it will lead us to. Let's just give it a try. Things like that don't work out, and if they end, then you can't blame such a relationship. All right, I'm going to stop here and take a little pause for you to view something I would like you to see. Thank you. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I hope you are going to act on what you just watched there. So I was telling you about some lessons I learned from my first technical relationship. All right, so I had told you, if it doesn't start with a strong commitment, then it will most likely go its way. Another lesson I learned was that if and when a relationship becomes toxic, you have to let it go. Well, we had so many problems. We could barely go 3 days without arguing. We are quarreling, and then 3 days, and then another 2 days we are not talking, and then we come back talking, then we quarrel again, go. It was like that. It was like that. We kept going like that, and I was reluctant to let it go. It was quite toxic. In fact, the final argument that led to the end of the relationship, we argued for over 2 hours, chatting back and forth, name calling, insulting, all of that, back and forth, and that was enough to make me see that this was not the right thing. But I insisted. I didn't want to let go for some reasons which I will still share with you. And I felt like, wow, that would be too much of a loss. But if something becomes toxic, if it takes away your mental state and sanity, if it affects you emotionally too much, you should let it go. So there's nothing do or die. I've been married now for about 6 years since then, and I'm doing fine. So it's not like the end of the world for you. If it gets toxic, let it go. In that same light, I would say know when to let it go. Know when. Don't delay too long. Nobody is saying you should not try. You can try, you can put in your best. Ensure that you are letting it go when you have done all the work and then nothing is forthcoming. So don't stay too long so that you don't get damaged for whoever is going to meet you again after now. Some people get wrecked in a relationship, and then by the time the next person comes in their life, the person is picking up pieces of that person. So let go the moment it gets toxic. God has many beautiful sons and daughters for you out there. Another lesson, this one is vital, especially because of this generation. Though it was 10 years ago, it was still relevant, but not as relevant as this. I would say don't be too quick to jump into social media. Don't be too quick to jump into social media. Now, well, I think 10 years ago, Instagram was just coming up. WhatsApp had just come. Facebook had been for like 4 or 5 years. So we're more familiar with Facebook back then. Well, if you were to be in this age, I think the scandal would have been bigger because the whole world will have more, more things to feed them. But back then, I remember I used to, initially, we were not really out there, but a few months later, we began to post on Facebook. There's always that euphoria. People love you. Everybody's commenting, oh, nice couple, nice couple. So about 3 or 4 times, I had posted us on social media, on our Facebook back then. I think I have an Instagram then. I think I had Twitter then, but I didn't have an Instagram. It was just Facebook I used to post on. And then everybody knew and all of that. So that was part of the reasons I was feeling reluctant to end the relationship, because I was like, many people know, everybody knows. How am I going to undo what I've done? So I made it difficult for myself by being too public about it very early. And I regretted it, because actually, when we started, my wife and I, when we started a relationship, those pictures were still there. I didn't know that my wife had gone to my Facebook to dig all my history. She saw all those pictures. If I'm funny, I think before then I had tried to remove those pictures, but I don't think I removed everything. So one day, I think about 4 days or so into our relationship, my wife just confronted me and said, okay, she has a concern. What of this person? And funny, my wife knew that person. So like, what of this person? I was shocked to my bones. I thought I had cleared all the pictures. I didn't know you would find it. So sometimes some of those things come back to bite you. Like they always say, social media does not forget. So be careful. You splash yourself all over the place on your status. You might not know somebody has done a screenshot of it and they've kept it. And one day they hear that you're no more together, then it becomes a problem. So at some point, though it was difficult being in a relationship, I was thinking more about the PR. What are people going to say? Everybody knows us, all of that. So don't be too hasty. That's why my wife and I, when we started a relationship, it took us 8 months before anybody even ever knew outside. The only people that knew, 1 or 2 people around us and family. But social media, in fact, the first post I made, nobody really knew, actually. I said that it was my convocation, and I said, to you. So people started guessing, who is the you? I said, well, that is your business. So I think it was about 3 months later, on Valentine's Day or so, that I now posted that for the first time. And even with that, I remember that my spiritual father, who was my mentor back then, reached out to me and said, some of those words were too much, that I had said too much, and I took caution back then. So don't be too quick to jump to social media, so that in case you have to roll back the carpet, you can quickly pack the thing and put it back in. 2 more lessons for you. From that experience, I knew the kind of woman I didn't need. There is something you want and there is something you need. Many times, human wants are not human needs. Someone wants something, it's just a desire. But there are things you need. There are people you need. There's a kind of woman, there's a kind of man that everyone needs. But most times, what everyone wants clashes with what they need. So I was more about what I wanted. But after that, I knew what I needed. And that's why in my next relationship journey, I was looking out for what I needed based on the lesson I learned in the first relationship. So it taught me to know what I actually needed, not just what I desired and wanted. So you should go for what you need, not what you feel like, not what you want. What you need in terms of personality, the person's complementing your best compliments for your purpose, your assignment, how you are going to live together. All of those things are more important than how you just feel. Is beyond when we snap together, we look good together. No, that's not compliment, but it's more about how you fit in together purposefully. And finally, I will tell you the last lesson I learned. Rebound is real. rebound is real. What do they call rebound? Rebound is that effect that after you have a relationship loss, you are craving attention, you are craving, a covering. You need somebody to fill up that void. Every serious relationship you leave will leave a void in you. So in the immediate or in the immediate aftermath of leaving that relationship, you would have a void that will need most likely to be filled. It depends on what you want to fill the void with. Some people try to use another person to fill that void, and most times it never works. That's what is called a rebound. It will rebound. You have not gotten yourself yet emotionally, so you can't really tell if that person, you like the person or not. So rebound is real. I after that, I tried to have one or two close. I tried to start one or two things. Maybe a few months later, my God, it didn't work out. In fact, there was one of them I'd met online. We're talking, good person. I was going back to school, so I traveled. I have to travel to school, so I branched to see her. After I saw her, every sense of desire in me died. I just went back to school and I just continued my life. After that, another lady came in. Different things I can't even share with you in this video. Just trying to cover up, just trying to be fine, that kind of thing. So it's always better to heal. I always advise take at least 6 months, 1 year to recover properly. Well, full recovery takes longer, but that bit of time will help you a little bit to at least get yourself. But if you finish a relationship now and then in 2 months you're already saying there's this guy that we've been talking all day, I can assure you are lying to yourself. So rebound is real. When you end a relationship, take your time, settle, don't be in a rush because you can't sort out your emotions in that time. So relax. When you are ready to go again, healed, much better, you can go again. And one of the ways to know if you are still hurt is how you talk about that person in that space of time. How do you, like this person I'm talking about now? We are still friends. We talk very well. In fact, she's married with a child, and we are good. We are good. We have a very fantastic relationship. We talk whenever we have to talk. So that's different from when I was hurting and I was feeling the pain. So the way you talk about the person is a sign that you have healed or not. How you talk about them in that moment, do you still feel hurt? Do you still feel cheated? Do you still feel regret? If that's what you are still feeling, then I'm not sure you are ready to go to a relationship. So I think that you should learn from my experience. Rebound is real. If you jump too much, you will jump out again. I've not only seen it in myself, I've seen it happen to other people that tried to cover up their void with another relationship. It didn't end well. So I hope you learned from these things I've shared with you. Some may apply to you, some may not apply to you. But I don't want you to make my own kind of mistakes. So I want to advise you to learn from me. And I'll stop there. Till I see you again, I'll say, keep enjoying the wisdom of God. Thank you.